Alright, let's get down to it, guys. We are now going to
Okay,
go through the
where those
origins.
snatchers were going. Let's find out why.
Sorry about that.
So the cog mined osmium down here. Seems like a big operation.
Yeah, Lancer bayonets used to be coated with osmium. Well, until they tapped out the mine, that is.
So once again, here's where we get to learn a little bit more about what was done and what was being gone
Guys,
through
let's head
after
through
the
here.
war. Because, you know, during the war with the Locusts, during the I totally just saw the Emulsion Wars, things had to happen to rebuild. So it's not necessarily that it's not talked about, but it is something that
How is there still
you don't always think about. We always don't
These old
always think
mines
about
run
the
on geothermal. So as long as there's a planet, there's power.
we always don't think about the rebuilding aspect or the rebuilding era after, you know, any sort of great conflict. You kind of get the New Deal and things like that after FDR and stuff like that, but that's not like a rebuilding period isn't something that's normally talked about.
Mine.
We're gonna stock up on all of our ammo over here. Now, one of the things that I do like is that when you're running around with this weapon, this is a custom Lancer that Marcus keeps like stored. Is I think what's supposed to be that you're using. So that's why it has a flashlight and a red dot scope on it, or I'm gonna call it a red dot, but it's kind of like a mini holographic.
Huh. Shit. They didn't just dump Locust bodies. They dumped their weapons down here too.
That's creepy.
Let's keep moving.
So I think that this is a really good
Why would
point of like
snatchers carry their
we're really
prey all
trying
the way
to
down here?
learn
My guess,
more about the
turning over
Locust,
their
more
hive.
learn more about how
Which
we
means
got
there's
to
a
this point and
whole
how
lot of
something like this
overhead.
could happen. Because it's something that we don't always think about when it comes up to it. It always happens, or we always get to this point during any sort of crisis, like how could we have let this happen? Where were the signs? What was? And it's like no, the signs were all about us. We didn't know what to do at the time when everything
Over
started,
there. Must be the hive.
and now here we
More
are.
Snatchers too. Marcus is anywhere.
He's in there.
Yeah, agreed. Let's get across.
So this building aspect of it is, or this aspect of how did it get here? This is creepy. We didn't just do this. That's something that we see in everyday society when we get to the point of like something's gone wrong, but why? But how? This is
Heads up.
that's
company.
impossible for that to be here. That hasn't been done. So as we sit here and go through this, that's what it comes down to, is something's gone wrong, and we now need to figure out how did we get to this point in our in this conflict. How did we let something that seems so obvious? How does that happen? And the truth is, rather easily, honestly.
No such thing as mercy. Not for you.
Now, I can still do that lean over and grab thing, however, it's a bit of a pain to do. So what I'm trying to do here is just do enough damage to these guys to take them down. Because apparently, it's not really working as much. Thank God that dropped him. Now we can kind of do that phalanx maneuver that I was talking about that is made popular in almost every science fiction genre where it's like 3 people just moving up the way.
Oh, we're not done. You hear me? Got it. I think that's all of them.
More locust shells. Terrific.
Well, we're definitely in the right place. Holy shit!
Tell me that's not what I think it is.
Suppressing.
Throwing grenade!
And you're back.
Suppressing.
What the hell's it doing to those drones?
I'm making it friendlier, that's for sure.
Let's go ahead and take him out. So this is what the Sentinels get to do here, is they can... One, he's just a lot better, as you can tell. Like, I'm single-handedly getting my ass kicked over here in a way that's not at all pleasant. I don't have a sniper rifle or anything, so it's just a, hey, you gotta take a lot of damage here. And I'm hoping to get these active reloads in so I can have as much damage, do as much damage to these guys as possible to push them back, because he charges them up, and they just keep doing more and more and more damage.
I got you.
I wish I was much better with that drop shot, but I am not. There we go.
Now let's finish this.
So now that the big guy's down, the regular grubs kind of go back to normal here. They don't do as much damage. They don't have that little aggro buff where they're like, hey, go fuck yourself. And I'm like, okay.
What's that drone? Fire in the hole!
All right, there we go.
Let's just... Oh, man. Let's head down that tunnel.
That's always a frustrating fight there, because as you can see, I went through all of my ammo there. There was nothing really left for me other than what I was using.
Oh well. Let me know when you come up with a better explanation.
So remember when I said that foreshadowing at the very beginning, like the second or third episode, where she picks up the little chrysalis and she's like, and if it survives, it claws itself out into this beautiful new creature. Yeah, fuck that shit. There's some real big, you know, foreshadowing there. They're in these chrysalis yellow cocoons. They come crawling their way out of it. They're bigger, they're meaner, they're uglier. Fuck them. It was still a really good imagery, or really good imagery to put in there. Like, I applaud them for doing that. It was very on the nose, but...
Hey, watch it. It's another one.
It was on the nose, like I said, but I still greatly, greatly enjoyed that. Now the little dudes are just running around in here, causing trouble, all sorts of mayhem. And this is just over, like, the halfway point of the game. Like, after this mission, we'll be in, like, the second to last act. And the last two acts go by pretty
I don't
quick.
think so. You've seen the pods. They're part... us.
And that's the other really big portion here, where the locust, the swarm here, are like us. They've been using us, gooifying
How
us,
the hell did he get down here?
and then
Looks
turning...
like an outer wild scavenger, maybe.
Well, at least he took a few of them with him. Shit. More than a few.
And it's they goofy and we change, we get broken down, and then people start coming up as locusts, as the swarm, as they're called. I'm gonna call them locusts. Like, I realize that they're the swarm, but I'm gonna call them
That's
locusts.
what I need. Okay, this might be a problem.
No, it's fine. Let's just unload them. Ah, that's bullshit. I thought I dodged out of the way. Okay, he's dead. Turns out they can't take as many things to the face as they'd like. Giant bullets to the
bright
face.
side, every juvie we kill is one less drone to worry about later.
You know what? That actually helps.
I'm glad that they have some commentary like that in here.
Load up.
Where it's like, you know, hey, at least as long as we kill so many of these things, we don't have to deal with the bigger ones later on. Like, that's a really... If you're going to have a positive outlook, that's the positive outlook you should have. Alright, I'm going to switch back over here to the... torque bow. I guess it's not always the most practical weapon, but then again, the fun weapons aren't always the most practical.